Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Football Connect. I just finished what the hell happened in the Premier League last week. This week, go check it out. It's there on the Football Connect. It's a video before this one. On this one, by the way, we're going to be talking about what went wrong with Liverpool. I think there's still a lot of things to talk about and what we need to analyze. Yesterday, I did try to do, I tried to really assess the game, but I felt more of didn't really give the praise that Newcastle really deserved because, when you look at the stats, look at how the game was played, how everything was really approached, you need to pay attention to everything that happened. So, according to some people that I've been listening to, and I have turned to agree with them because they are giving up some important information in which I could actually confirm with the game with what I saw. Liverpool were trapped by Newcastle. And I'm going to try to explain how that happened, but that's not the only reason that what happened. They were trapped and they were played out of their game. Remember, we have been talking about that the strength of Liverpool this winter season has been their midfield. What happens when that midfield has been overrun or have been overworked and has lost the energy and the appetite? Then also we talk about young short players marking big players. What happens when you have to deal with good players who are very good aerially and they'll bully you while you are shorter than me? What really happens? Oh, you get a Newcastle versus Liverpool final. That's exactly what happened in this game. And I have to pay so much homage and I really have to give some respect to Newcastle for actually analyzing, understanding this, and taking advantages of the small spaces which Liverpool did not pay so much attention to and they suffered for. So firstly, the people that I need you to focus on if you watched the game, if you still remember the game is, and I'm going to mention them. For Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes, important. Bruno Guimaraes, then with Tonali, and as well as Joelinton, because these were very, very pivotal into the success of Newcastle in this game. I'm talking about these guys did not come with any mission of playing or trying to play their freestyle football or trying to express themselves in the pitch. They came specifically to shut the Liverpool midfield and shut the balls and becoming those, what should I call them, the shadowers, to stop some balls from going from one place to another in that Liverpool midfield. And they did it so perfectly, using their muscles, bullying the players out of the ball. We saw Joelinton taking out Harvey Elliott with a crazy hand. It was not even awarded as anything. We saw that they did anything that they could do on the dirty side of football. Anyway, these guys was the masterpiece of Eddie Howe. He worked on these guys, made them sure that they worked so hard, and also put in mind what the roles of Murphy and Harvey Barnes were. It was not only to attack, but also to help out this midfield to make sure that this Liverpool team was not in the game. And I don't want to lie to you. When you look at it from scale 1 to 10, it went to perfection for Newcastle. And I think this exposed the problems which Liverpool has faced this whole entire season. And the other thing that I need you to pay attention, we're still talking about Newcastle, by the way. Pay attention the roles of Livramento as well as Trippier, because these guys were given we had a good mission to make sure that they did what they needed to do. Salah had to be taken out of the game. Livramento was not playing to mark actually Salah. That was Dan Benn's job. This is the crazy part. That was Dan Benn's job to mark Mohamed Salah. What this kid Livramento was doing, he was actually playing as an overhaul to make sure that the balls don't reach to Salah. And he was getting help from Joelinton to make sure that that doesn't happen, as well as having Barnes to cover for Joelinton whenever he has to go play that position to stop Salah from receiving the balls. On the other hand, Trippier knew that If there's any player in Liverpool who doesn't have confidence, it's Luis Diaz. So I'm just gonna take him out. I'm gonna bully him out of the pitch the whole entire game. So what was left for Shea to do? It was just to hover and to make sure that Diogo Jota does not participate in anything that was happening in the game. Worked it to perfection. That was the game plan of Eddie Howe. If you could ask him, maybe not now, but sometime later, ask him, what was your job? He actually is going to say exactly the same thing that I've just told you. He made sure that these guys were the workaholics of everything. Bruno Guimaraes made sure that that double pivot, Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali made sure that that double pivot of McAllister and Gravenberch was practically useless. This has been one of the most, you know, revolving, one of the most thing that has been really given so much glory and praise by Liverpool fans over how this double pivot has been amazing in terms of progressing the ball, in terms of defending and helping the team, connecting, being the brain, being giving the mind waves, being the energy at some point to push this Liverpool team to go anywhere, and yet these two guys just make sure that it was not working. And because of how they approached the game, Dominic Soboslai looked like he was just a man who was just occupying the space in the pitch, did not know exactly where he needed to be to cover, how to approach the games, how to be very, very pivotal to help the team. He just could not do because his whole entire team had problems to deal with, which did not work. How did they take the Mo Salah out of the game? Just make sure that the balls don't reach to him. And when the balls reach to him, they make sure that 3 players were all on him. And those 3 players that I'm talking about, it's Jolinton, Livramento, and Dambe. That was the game. So it means it was difficult for Salah to cross the ball inside or to pass Dominic Soboslai, which forced him to pass backwards. Who is it passing back to? Konza. Konza might be really developing well to become a defender, but he's not a good ball creator of Liverpool. He is not a good creator in the football match, and we saw it clear. He might run, he might try to do what, but they knew that this kid cannot do anything, and they made sure that it remained that way. Hence why the ball was taken back so many times, going back to Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk going back, getting the ball, Ibrahima Konate getting the ball, and even when those were getting the ball, they were being pressed so well. Like, I remember I told you about Dan Burn and Murphy. Their mission was to make sure that I was to put a serious high pressure on Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Konza, which forced them so many times to pass the ball back to Gallagher hitting the long balls, and with the long balls, because the whole entire Newcastle team defensively were taller than the Liverpool strikers, it was easier for the ball to go back into Newcastle's control. That's how they won the game. Go rewatch it. Go watch it so many times. How we were losing aerial duels because we're being forced to play the aerial shots, and that did not help the team. It just did not help the team. The game actually changed when Curtis Jones was introduced in the mix. But the interesting part about my manager, he put on, I think that one is for was it for Darwin Nunes, for Ibrahima Konate, Curtis Jones? Yeah, I think he put on Curtis Jones for Konate, because Konate has not been looking like maybe he needed a ball playing defender. So he thought, if I put the ground backwards, he can try to play as a ball playing defender, helping to progress the game better from being backwards rather than that. Hence why at that point the ball kept on going to Gravenberch at the back, but it was a bit too late because the team was no longer in the pitch, the team was no longer in the game, and they took out another midfielder and added strikers. That's when we saw the likes of Harvey Elliott, the likes of Chiesa, the likes of Nunes. Then Jota came out, Diaz came out. The game was so confusing that I was just watching and I knew that the game was over because Liverpool had been outclassed by Newcastle. That's what we talk about when we say that this team was outclassed Liverpool. We're just talking about how they knew Liverpool's threats and they just neutralized them. How they knew they're Liverpool's top dangerous player, their most targeted player that they're just gonna try to give the boys more Salah, and they literally practically got him out of the game, and they make sure that Diaz did nothing. Trippier had a number on Diaz. He kept on running on him, but just could not produce anything meaningful, which was tangible. And the Guimaraes was also thanks to that, because he was also coming in to help Trippier at some point, because he knew that when the ball is on the side of Diaz, it means that that pivot of McAllister and the Gravenberg is practically not working. And that's how the game was like for Newcastle. You might try to do analysis, talk about what Liverpool could have done, but that was the game plan. And because of Liverpool being tired, played more games than Newcastle in the last 10 games, 10 days, it just showed playing that extra time at Enfield against PSG did not help. We just made sure that these guys died along very fast in the pitch in terms of tired and confidence wise. And at the end of the day, Liverpool lost the game. Newcastle lifted the title. What do Liverpool needs to do coming back to finish up the last 9 games that are left of the Premier League? They just have to find their energy back and try to make sure that they get the job done, because things are not looking good. Salah was a top contender in the Ballon d'Or before these 2 games, and yet after the PSG loss as well as this one, he's now number 6. Football can be cruel, very, very cruel. But that's why we live for football here, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people. That's my analysis. Like I told you in my match reaction, I focused more on Liverpool. I needed to give you an analysis and understanding of exactly what Newcastle did when we talk about how they outclassed Liverpool. And I think I've just given you a proper analysis of what exactly was the game plan and how it worked to perfection for this team. Like that video, subscribe to Connect. I will be back again with another one. And remember, it's international break. We'll be covering everything that we want to talk about. Football is here, and we'll talk about it. There's a story that I need to do. I'm gonna be doing reaction video this week in terms of where Liverpool stands. There's an interesting reaction from Simon Jordan and the other guys who are fighting over some things. I think it's Martin Keown. Yeah. I'll talk about their fight over what they thought of Liverpool, because Keown wants Liverpool to be labeled as bottlers. I don't know. I'm out. Like the video, subscribe. See you on another one. Peace.